All right, so let's just run through this really quick. Breaking, guys. The California Superior Court orders Secretary of State Alex Padilla to preserve evidence in the election fraud case, in Raji Rob's case. So I wrote this article on Medium. You can find it on my Twitter. I released it. Here's the ugly picture of Dean Logan and Alex Padilla. In a groundbreaking order issued by Honorable Judge Lori Emerald, who's the judge in Raji's case, on December 17, 2020, she ordered them to preserve all evidence until the case is finally resolved. Here's the direct order. It's the official Superior Court order here. This picture, I got it here. And I outlined in red. It says respondents, which are Alex Padilla, Dean Logan, and the LA Board of Supervisors, all of them. Hilda Solis, who am I forgetting, Pasta? Who's on the LA Board of Soups? Hilda Solis.
Well, it's changing right now. Mark Thomas Ridley's on his way out. You got Stephanie Rule, I think, is one of the people that a lot of people
the ones during the primary.
What's that?
The ones during the primary.
Yeah. They were talking about Stephanie Rule is still there. Mark Ridley Thomas is out. Yeah. He was there during the primary.
Everybody during the primary that was on the LA Board of Supervisors, kind of like the managers of LA County, right? So we're
And there's four of the five were there in the primary, there now as well. So only one left, but one guy was. Other than that, they're the same people.
Okay, yeah. So all of LA Board of Supervisors, Secretary of State Alex Padilla and Dean Logan are ordered to preserve all evidence until this case is finally resolved. Until the case is finally resolved, not until they hear this, not until they hear. Because what she also said is the court will hear petitioner's motion to compel on shortened time. Basically, what they're saying, Raji submitted a motion to compel for an inspection of the tally machines, and at the same time, respondents Dean Logan, Padilla, LA Board of Soups filed a motion for a protective order so that they can block Raji's inspection. So that there's going to be a hearing on that on January 6th. I'm definitely trying to live stream that. So she's going to hear both of these on January 6th. So we're going to live stream that here on the Convo Couch. This order means that the Judge Earl is officially recognizing that there is evidence that must be preserved in the fiscal inspection request. Here's the link to that. Raji's official file there. You can click on that. Raji Rob had asked for. Raji had not requested a motion for the order to preserve all evidence, but the judge made the order anyway, which is huge. Like, do you understand? Like, Raji didn't when Raji was asking for the motion to compel, he had to write up all this stuff and then insert it. That takes time, money, lawyer advice. He's pro se representing himself, so it would have taken some money. But she just out of nowhere granted this order, like an official judicial order to preserve all evidence. So this is huge news, and this is a huge step forward for Rob's case, as this is the farthest an election contest has ever moved in modern California history, to the best of my knowledge. Rob is very close to receiving an inspection of the internal logs that would show the exact time the vote count was accessed. If the judge allows, at this hearing on January 6th, for the inspection to happen, it's game over, ladies and gentlemen. It's game over. We're going to find out exactly what time the vote count was accessed. And you'll see that as soon as you run the ballots through those machines, which I have the video here, and the reason I put this video is just so you guys can see the machines and to show that also I was on the ground on March 3rd, or technically March 4th, because it was 2:30 a.m. when I took this video on primary night. And it was Fee's birthday, and I was like out here exposing corrupt people. And for people who might not know, the election contest, Raji's election contest, has now been over 8 months since Rob has filed a lawsuit alleging election malconduct due to fraudulent access of vote count 10 days prior to March 3rd, 2020 primary election night, 8 p.m. in LA County, LA, California, when vote-by-mail ballots were scanned into cast vote records and made instantly accessible. According to his second amended writ, which is the official lawsuit, and it's called the second amended writ because he had the first thing is called the complaint, and then he amended his complaint, so it was the first amended writ of mandate, and then now it's the second amended writ of mandate. He basically said that respondent Logan illegally scanned and counted VBM ballots, tampered with tally system, and illegally accessed ballot count 10 days before the election causing an error in the vote counting programs or summation of ballot counts, thus invoking election code 16100A and G, which if we take a quick look at this, it says, here's official California code, California law, 16100A, that the precinct board or any member thereof was guilty of malconduct. You have to raise these grounds for contest if you're going to file for a lawsuit for an election contest in the California courts. You have to do it. You have to say that one of these things were broken. One of these statutes was broken. So Raji said that 6100A was broken, and 6100G, that there was an error in the vote counting programs or summation of ballot counts. So that's that. He also says the election results are plainly illegal and court-ordered manual recount. A manual recount is necessary in the interest of justice. And so we get the right, the right count, the correct count. Here respondent, Board of Supervisors, Secretary of State, both have breached their duty. So this is what was different in the Second Amended writ that he brought up that was new. He included both the Board of Supervisors and Secretary of State Alex Padilla, and he kind of upped the charge that he has against them. He said they breached their duty to stop Logan because they oversee Logan. They oversee Dean Logan.
And they've been protecting him.
They oversee and protect him. So they breached their duty to stop Logan from his malconduct of crossing the boundary of law, limitation of his duty under the law, and protect the purity of voter expression. Petitioner has been aggrieved by the breach of duty by the Board of Supervisors and Secretary of State. Both of them have failed oversight and have aided and abated respondent Logan into harming petitioner and the American public and the California public, LA public, in the March 3rd, 2020 primary election, causing those election codes to be broken. After filing this, he was met with a lot of demurs, attempts by the oppositions, by Dean Logan's public money funded but privately hired lawyers from Collins & Collins, Murr & Stewart, LLP. Rob is acting pro se, or he's representing himself. He's his own lawyer. He has no lawyer, against an entire law firm, several county councils, and Clint Woods, who is the Deputy Attorney General at the California Department of Justice. I included this picture here. Here's his LinkedIn. I had to log into my LinkedIn, so he saw me creeping on his LinkedIn. I did that for this article.
Johnny, you got another guy looking at us? Jesus, now.
It's okay.
He's the Deputy Attorney General of freaking California.
Hey,
wow.
We're not doing anything wrong. Okay. Rob has dealt with various delay tactics from respondents. Respondents have even tried to dismiss the case on technicalities via demurs. He didn't have this acronym or whatever. That they did that in the first amended writ. And overblown claims, like when they tried to claim Rob was inciting a riot. Like literally, this is what Taylor J. Pohl, who was one of the lawyers, was emailing Raji about. He's like, and he actually called you, Pasta, isn't that right? Or remember we got?
Yep, he did.
And when Rob showed up at the Donnie Talley Operating Center with two candidates, two members of the media, and one observer for an expected inspection of the premises, that was once again delayed. They delayed it that day. So there's that video. There's our on the ground coverage of that. This order issued.
I think people should understand too, Johnny, that he had every right to be there that day to show up for discovery. And once again, we're licking our chops as election integrity people. Like, oh, we're going to get discovery. We're going to get discovery. We're going to get in there and get to see this software. But you know what they do? Just like they did when they hire these lawyers, they use delay tactics. They run out the clocks and say, oh, you can't get in there because it was COVID and whatnot. So when we all showed up to get discovery, we were just shunned aside. And we were all there. Johnny can tell you more about it. It was just totally disgusting once again. That's why I'm so skeptical moving forward, Johnny, about them really showing us what's what in the inside and letting us see this logs. Because if they do show us the logs, it is game over, period.
Yeah, no, you're right, Pasa, because they in their protective order request, they're asking for specifically not to have the logs be seen, not to have the logs be inspected. So I'm going to get to that in a second. The order issued by the judge to the defendants to preserve evidence comes after Rob has filed a motion to compel. Told you all about that. And he filed that on December 11th. And then subsequently, they filed their notice for the protective order. on December 12th. This December 17 order is not Rob's first big breakthrough. Earlier this year, Rob managed to receive the VSAP Tally Systems operation manual through the discovery process, where the opposition sent over 16,000 pages. I don't know if y'all know this, because I don't think we made a video like this, or I wrote an article like this to talk to you about this. They sent 16,000 pages. Like, imagine like boxes and a room filled with boxes and boxes and they did that. It's like a movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, they sent all these pages of documents that he had to go look through with his team. And Rob was able to find a needle in the haystack diagram that scientifically proves the point that there is accessibility as soon as ballots are scanned through the machines. Contrary to statements made by election staff, we're looking at you, Alex Olvera, Jeff Klein, and Dean Logan.
They all see us in their sleep. And let me, Johnny, another thing, we talked about this. They dropped off all these pages, 16,000 pages, going, here you go, and laughed at him, thinking like, he'll never find what you need to find. But they were relentless. They took the time, him and his team, they went all through this stuff, and they were like, bingo, because that's how not just how snotty, how confident these people think they are. You know what I'm saying? They get so cocky that they think that we're not going to find them. They left crumbs. Raji found it, and now we're going to use it against them.
So really quickly, almost done here, wrapping this up. There's a diagram. You guys can take a look at that. If you go to this Medium article, here's the PDF version here where it says Figure 6, and you guys can take a close look at that. See if you can, if anyone knows computer science or IT, take a look at that, or send it to your IT friends and see what they say. I'm telling you, there's accessibility as soon as you scan the ballots. That's the point. After finding this diagram, Rob had not one but two computer science experts with each over 20 years of experience in the field take a look at the diagram. The two experts confirmed and are willing to testify in court. That's what they're going to do when there's the hearing on the second amended writ and on the demur, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to be in court. Well, I think it'll be via Zoom, but if it wasn't COVID and everything, they'd be in court testifying, saying that what Rob and Raji has several years of IT experience as well, was suspecting that as soon as the ballots are scanned through the Smartmatic tally system, they are instantly accessible. When the LARCC under Dean Logan scanned vote-by-mail ballots 10 days prior to 8 p.m. election night, that primary night, they broke the law. They violated Election Code 15101B, to be exact. And you can take a look at that on that link. It basically says that you're allowed to process, but it doesn't say anything about tallying or counting the vote. And it specifically says that under no circumstances may a vote count be accessed. And it says that right here. Under no circumstances may a vote count be accessed. And by the way, this was just 15101B before, but they switched it for this general election to be B1 and B2, because they made a legit, they literally changed the law for the November 3rd general election and added this B2 thing. And it literally states for the statewide general election to be held on November 3rd, 2020, any jurisdiction having the necessary computer capability may start to process. It's the same law, except now they can process 29 days before the election instead of 10 days. Any comment on that?
And that's bullshit too, because they didn't go through the freaking. They didn't go through the legislative branch. I mean, they have to go through both parties. The public has a right to act on it. They have 6 days once they make this law. They didn't go through it. They went around again, just like they did in these other states, the Secretary of States. Technically, there's a couple groups that are protesting that law right there, Johnny.
Yeah, no, that's huge, man. Like it's ridiculous. Okay, so the hearing for Raji's motion to compel is scheduled to occur January 6th, 2021. Wow, almost a year later. And the court will simultaneously hear on the respondent's motion for a protective order. Respondents are asking for a protective order. You guys gotta look at the protective order, because it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Respondents are asking for a protective order to deny Rob's continuing demand for a physical inspection of the Downey Tally Operations Center, and specifically to deny an inspection of the logs. And then they actually they quote the Cassandra logs, because that's exactly where it says it right there. I saw that, and certain people have access to these Cassandra logs. You have an admin access to those logs. Their main reasoning being that this protective order is necessary to protect our RCC against unwarranted annoyance, embarrassment, oppression, undue burden, and expense.
Yeah.
You know,
they want to stop us from getting our data. It's our data. Everything that the election yields or produces 22 months, it must be available, and it belongs to us, the public. We pay for it, and this is what we keep telling you out there, ladies and gentlemen. If they really wanted to have honest elections, they would give us our data. We can do a forensic autopsy on these elections, and within 2-3 days have a result. Don't let anybody tell you it takes months and months, and that's why they can't do it. No, if they handed over everything promptly, we can do this independently, and we can find out what's what. What they're trying to deny Raji is our data, because not only did Raji ask for these things, people have put in public requests to see these logs, and they keep getting denied, keep getting denied, keep getting denied.
So lastly, I just have my little comments here. Surely an inspection into our election system is too embarrassing and annoying to even consider. The over 1,600 petition signers for a petition to release the vote count machine evidence would disagree. They would disagree. Candidates Maria Estrada and Elizabeth Castillo, who have filed election contest lawsuits, will also disagree. And I have their tweets here, where Maria said that she filed it, and Elizabeth Castillo's tweet here where she says that Dems have been cheating for since 2016 at least, at the minimum. Why would election officials of the largest county in the United States, located in the 5th largest economy in the world, California, be so keen to hide in those logs? If there was nothing to hide, why did they hire a private law firm? Why are they against a pro se patriot? That's what I call Raji. He's a pro se patriot. It's like they have a whole law firm. You know what I'm saying? Rob counters the respondent's plea for a protective order in the most recent legal exchange by the parties by cleanly spelling out the fact that when discovery was served, the respondents did not make this motion for the protective order until now, several months later, when Rob had filed the motion to compel. This shows that respondents were anything but prompt or timely, which is a requirement set forth in that statute to file a protective order. So, they weren't prompt with this protective order, basically. So they're already... It looks like it should be dismissed, and if the judge doesn't dismiss it, let's see what happens. They're trying to only let him visually inspect the machines. Let's see. The judge. I want y'all to be aware that the judge, Raji, had filed his second amended writ on September 23rd, 2020, and the judge, and that was like way before the election. I mean, he tried to get it done. And he tried to get the inspection done and the hearing done before the election so he could prove it, and so it doesn't happen again, right? So it doesn't repeat. So there no misjustice happens again. But the judge set the hearing date to January 26, 2021, like far, far beyond September 23rd. That's literally like 3 months later. It's 3 months later. 4 months later. Being an on-the-ground witness at the LARCC offices and reading through all the legal paperwork in Rob's lawsuit has shown me that our election systems in the United States are clearly flawed. The huge lack of transparency, and you can see my other article I wrote about that, where there's white vans and sketchy stuff in the supposed most democratic and progressive state in the union, has shown me that there's no transparency in a very wealthy county in a very wealthy state, and we cannot expect there to be transparency across the nation. Should the people let election officials, i.e. public servants, go without scrutiny, or should we just trust that these officials are just doing their jobs? Raji Rob is fighting one of the most fundamental rights we have as a nation, our right to vote. It is becoming increasingly clear in these times that democracy is falling right before our eyes. This is not a partisan issue. This is not a bipartisan issue. This is a nonpartisan issue. This is our right to vote, and we need to fight. Pastor, what do you think?
I think you're right. It is a non-partisan issue, and it's something we need to look at. Listen, we do all these shows about election integrity because we want people to understand the framework. We're not fighting for Trump over Biden. We're fighting to get the elections fair. It should be nonpartisan. We should have the most transparent, fair elections that we could have. And, people like Dean Logan have been protected by the Board of Soups, by Alex Padilla. Why? He ran a terrible election. And for us to even get stuff on the record, FAM had to wait in the courtroom for 9 hours just to say a 1 minute thing. And at the end, a lot of people were saying, Dean Logan must go. Dean Logan must go. He produced a chaotic system in which he obfuscated the public by only telling them partial truths, kind of hiding in the fact that conditional ballots are provisional ballots, hiding in the fact that these machines access account as soon as they're scanned, hiding all these facts for these people to get real fair transparent elections, and even the Dropbox scam. It's all the scam to make you think like, oh, we're making sure that everybody has the right to vote, that we're not suppressing people. Across the board, people like Dean Logan, Alex Padilla, these board of supervisors need to be exposed. And what Raji Robb has here, I just hope it continues to go further. Raji says to me that if in fact they try to hide their tracks, try to remove anything from these logs, Johnny, that we'll be able to catch them. And if we do, if we are able to catch them, game over. That means you have to produce another election, a hand count, something. And not only that, if we do get a hand count, we have ways now of finding out if these ballots are legit or not. So we have so many more mechanisms in play, but we have to change the fundamentals and the frameworks of the elections moving forward. This is something that everybody out there should be fighting for. Let's get free, fair, transparent elections. Let me tell you something. Right across the board nationally, we need to eliminate ballot harvesting. Now that the fact that the establishment is trying to push all these absentee ballots and these mail-in ballots, Tulsi was right. We need to get rid of this. In no way, shape, or form should somebody be able to grab 2,000, 3,000 ballots and walk them into a precinct and hand them in, and that's okay. And in no way whatsoever should we be able to get an early count. And Raji knows that. He made this phrase, early counting is early fraud. And he is 100% right. We have these rules in place because we want fair elections, and that's what we need to be fighting for. So hooray to Raji for being so relentless. I love him for this, and I just look forward to seeing more information, more data that comes our way that we own anyways.
Okay. All right, guys.
And I just want to say that Raji has been fighting like no one else I've seen before. And I just wanted to say hi to the camera.